everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Silver Lyming. I am your host, Anne Desjardins, and I'm happy to be here alive, healthy, and whole, having recovered from my own experience with Lyme and tick-borne illness to share with you just a little bit more information about Lyme, ticks, what it looks like, what symptoms might be, other stories about people healing and recovering from Lyme and tick-borne illness, because if you are going through it, you know very well how hard and lonely and dark it can be at times and overwhelming. And so I just, again, want to encourage people, inspire you, give you hope to understand that it is possible to get better. It may take some time, perseverance, determination, a lot of money, and a lot of effort, just sheer acts of God, but you can do it. You can certainly get better. It is definitely possible. And along my journey, I really met a lot of wonderful people, and I wouldn't have been exposed to them had I not ever come into contact with a tick that was carrying Lyme and a boatload of co-infections. But through my experience of that, I've met people like my guest today, and I'm really grateful for his encouragement and support along the way. He's trying to place exactly where we crossed paths, and probably best guesstimate is about 7 years ago, which would make sense because that's truly when I started to become much more active on this topic. That's about as long ago that I finally got a diagnosis after 7 years of seeking help from medical establishment and struggling with answers to what was going wrong with my body. And I started to do these things called quick tick tips, but I suspect that's probably where we came into contact. But my guest is Ed Chodowski, and he is joining us from Kingston, Ontario, from Canada. And yes, if you're listening, you can get Lyme and tick-borne illness in Canada. The ticks do not know any geographical boundaries. They are not discriminatory in any way, shape, or form. They will bite anything that is alive, living, with warm blood flowing through their veins. They are hungry sometimes, and people just get caught in the crossfire. But Ed is somebody that has turned what I feel was like his own personal quest of alleviating being chewed alive by insects into a really cool story and a product that called Eco Tick Solutions. And I'm going to let him tell us a lot more about that and really how it came to be. It's just a really, I think, again, a cool story coming out of his own need that he has found something that can be shared with lots of people and is, again, very beneficial. So thank you, Ed, for joining us today. And thank you for coming up with such a great solution. I would like, again, for you to just share a little bit more about yourself, if you don't mind, and how you came to arrive at what product offering it is that you have for us.
Thanks, Anne. It's wonderful to see you. We followed you from a long time ago. So my son is in the same boat as you, except for he didn't get Lyme disease. But when he does get bitten, he blows up like a balloon. It's like, wow. So years ago, we decided there must be something better than chemical. Chemical kills worms, birds, all the nature. So we started to investigate. My wife and I started to say, okay, what can we use? To know me is to love me, as they say, but to experiment with things, I go always on the side of safety. So we tried different chemicals, different products out on the market. A friend of mine, he's the same way, Bill, and he said that, well, what are you trying this time? I said, well, we're going to try a garlic blend, but we're going to add a little bit of a twist to it. So we did, and I didn't know where he worked, so he worked for the city of Kingston and in parks. So we took it to a meeting, and they loved it. So we were spraying the Kingston parks and found a big, big difference from 480 emails down to zero, saying,
Wow.
why can't you solve the tick problem? Eco Tick Solutions came in, myself, and we sprayed. And we learned a lot along the way, but it was good what we sprayed. And going to a meeting way back when in Huntsville, my brother reminded me that, don't you remember Mom used to be in the backyard spraying this little bottle and it stunk? Well, being kids, we don't listen to our parents, right? So I thought, yeah, you're right. And it was garlic. So from there, that's what gave me the idea. And now the company is franchisable. We're going right across worldwide to Europe, Canada, and USA. We manufacture our own product here in Canada. So we're expanding quickly and better because we were at a show and a little girl about 7, 8 years old asked me, "Why can't you help me?" And when somebody says that, you're gonna start to cry like you're gonna do. And you're going, okay, what happened? And so that really gave me the edge. My wife always kids me. It's not about the money with me, but it's about helping people. So in your situation, once we get done and all this, I want to get your address and send you my product and have you apply it. It's so easy, it's so simple, but it's 99.8% efficient. And it kills ticks, mosquitoes, chiggers, black flies. I don't know what your weather is there now, but in Canada for the last 6 months, I started to build an ark because every second day it would rain.
Okay.
But the product, as we evolve, we add to it. So now we can spray actually in the rain to kill the ticks. Mosquitoes, we're working on that. So it's something that
Oh,
something has to be done.
that's impressive that you can spray in the rain.
Yeah, it is. We have we have a camp. It's 98 acres, and we have another camp. It's about 350 acres. We go in every 4 weeks and we spray. These people love me. They think I'm the best thing since butter because no ticks. And this is a girls' day camp, and the other one's
Wow.
men's camp. And mosquitoes, if you had 100, you might have two. So it works really well.
That's
And
gotta feel so good to be able to offer something that's such a deliverable result and like you're saving people's lives. I'm
yeah,
not sure if
I
you've
am.
thought about it this way, but like you're literally saving people's lives from coming into contact with the hell's bug, if you will. Like it's like the work of it's the devil's bug. Like I don't see any benefit to it. At least spiders I can kind of make peace with because they perform good active service along with just being beautiful to certain people. I mean, they kind of are beautiful, but ticks, like, I can't think of anything good about them, right? Like, I've got this little tick here that somebody sent me, um, and it's the only time
I
that we
have
could
one too. It's a
say
little different.
it's kind of cute.
Yep, it
It's
is.
kind of cute
It's a
here.
reminder.
That it's kind of cute, but like they're really not that cute. And obviously they're not that big either, which is another reason why they're so problematic for people, right? Because they're so tiny. And I remember one lady telling me she thought she had a speck of dirt
Huh.
on her, and she was older, like an older lady, and she just couldn't see that well. And then it came out to be a tick, and I mean, I can see incredibly well, and I had one on me, and I had to take a picture of it and blow it up with my camera because it was so small. So that's, by spraying this kind of stuff, if you can at least repel them and keep them away from people in the first place, like you are a true hero from that perspective. And then forgive me, like how long does your spray last for? So you said you're going to spray every 3 to 4 weeks
But
there.
we
Is
do
that
every 4 weeks.
okay?
But we're doing an experiment. So we have a property. It's a 13-acre swamp,
Oh
literally a
God.
swamp.
Okay.
We drive through the bush to get to a roadway with a 4x4 truck. We park and we spray. Last year, we did it every 4 weeks. This year in the spring, we went out into the same spot, and I'm telling my tech, I go, something's wrong here. And we're standing there, not a mosquito, a bug is touching us. There's not even a mosquito there. So we took a video of it. And so we found that once we spray your property, if we do it constantly, eventually you're not going to have any ticks. The whole idea of this whole program is to get rid of the ticks. It's
Mhm.
a bonus that's getting the mosquitoes, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But so far, I don't have a complaint from anybody saying, "Oh, I have ticks."
That's
So
fantastic.
it is fantastic, you know. But the problem with a tick is not only its bite, but it's a mindset. You can't be afraid of them, which you understand. You need to overcome that and say, well, screw you, right? I'm going to win. And so far, if we all helped each other, we would win.
Yeah.
So tall grass, cement, all that, it does not matter because they're starting to fly. You have a tick that is the Texas longhorn tick. When it bites you, you don't like steak anymore. How do you go
Yes.
through life without having a steak, right? You have the Asian tick. You have it just goes on and on and on. So the government needs to step in somehow.
Mm,
But till then, we keep going in debt. We keep doing our job.
yeah. Yeah. And it's unfortunate because this really is something that I wonder how many people have it and don't realize it and have all these underlying or other ancillary health problems that, like, if we just fix this, if we treated this more seriously, if we sprayed the whole country, we did everything, spray the whole world, cool, then maybe we would have so much less medical problems as a
There'd be something else,
society.
you know that. That's the way the
Eh,
world works. But you're right, we got to get rid of the ticks. So we go
yeah,
in every 4 weeks and we spray like clockwork. Sometimes it's 5 weeks. We go in and we spray for any kind of weddings, any shows or any events that people are doing. We spray ahead of time. Um, you know, we even sell the DIY where they do it themselves, and we have a misting system where when we're not there, it takes over.
mm,
So it's a long process to get rid of these ticks. And it's not just that when they bite you, you get tired. You know yourself, you get tired, you can't move, your muscles are sore. It causes so many complications. The new tick out there now, when it's biting you, it's attacking your heart. That's
great.
not good, right? Like 3 years ago, I had a heart attack. It's probably my own stupidity from working too hard, but you don't know. I could have been bitten by a tick and it went directly to my heart. The doctors in Canada, as great as they are, they're still not recognizing all the problems. A 9-year-old girl went into the hospital in Toronto and she couldn't walk. She couldn't get up out of bed. Mom rushed to the hospital. They said, well, nothing's wrong with her. She's just overly tired. Well, after shaving her head, they found the tick, like you said, the very small one. It paralyzed her.
Oh my God.
Exactly. And how do you find it? Justin Bieber. Look at him. He was
Yeah.
doing a shooting a movie. He got bitten. It goes on, right?
Yeah.
Every day it's an adventure,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm not totally sure the statistics in Canada. I know here in the States, they say maybe 400 to 600,000 people a year contract it. So, I guess proportionally population wise, you guys would be quite a bit, maybe less
Not much less.
in the whole, but do you know what they,
We're running about 150,000 a year that are getting bitten. Now,
okay,
you put that over a 10-year period, that's a lot. This year, so we watch the government reports, they come to us. Last year, they gave us a warning that ticks are going to be up 65% from the
interesting.
year before.
Yeah,
This year came at a 78% the year before.
it's
So I'm
wild.
waiting for the newest one, which is going to be probably closer to 80, 90.
Oh man.
Um, you go up into the Northwest Territories, ticks are bringing down moose at a weigh-in 1,200 pounds.
This I've read about, and I was trying to explain this to someone that they're completely eviscerating them and just sucking their blood right out of them. And
Yep.
yeah, and I'm
And
like,
that's why they have no fur and that they can, barely walk.
yeah,
And think about it. A hunter shoots a deer, brings it home to their family. They eat that deer.
thought
So
about this.
it is. It's a
Definitely thought about this, but like that's the thing is like, well, what do? You know, they're everywhere. That's the problem.
yep.
And I I'm also interested in hearing that they're actually like publishing this and telling you about the population increase because I have a lot of Canadian coworkers and I know one in particular who's like, we don't have them around here. And then just in the last 2 years, maybe he's been like, oh my God, two of my neighbors and one
Yeah.
of their dogs, and da da da. Like all these people he knows have been getting bitten. And I'm like, yeah, so I mean, they're crawling all around there now for sure if he's seeing them that frequently. And I'm just kind of glad. But then I talked to some other people that live up there and they're like, no, we've had them here for a really long time. They've been a big problem for a long time.
They have. They've been around for many years. There is no rhyme or reason to cut the grass short or leave it long. Cement, gravel. The rule of thumb is put around your border of your whole house, gravel. Tick won't walk on gravel. Well,
Why?
sorry, that's a bit BS. Exactly, it's BS.
Oh, I was
Because
like,
I
what?
have
Why?
customers that have a cement patio. They have hundreds or had hundreds on it. And when I sprayed my first spray, I talked to her and I says, if you find a tick on your property now, I'll give you this for nothing. And as we said that, a tick was walking at our feet. Then it died. And I said, a living tick, right? So that saved my graces there. But they love the product. They're one of my biggest advocates.
Well, that was going to be my next question for you. If you could explain a little bit more about things and how they work. So this is always something I wonder. So like, so we spray your property and then the ticks die, or the ticks just go
So a
away because
tick,
they don't like the smell,
well, the
or
tick breathes from his chest.
okay,
So if you look at a tick, the mouth is under his chest or in the very front.
okay,
So if you put a tick on the table and you cover it with cellophane, you're suffocating that tick. So when the guys go out to spray, we're spraying under high pressure. We have a specific system we use. It's designed by me, manufactured by us. When you spray your property, you just spray everywhere. You spray your patio doors, you spray the side of your house, furniture, everything. It leaves no residue. And what it does, because the tick breathes from its chest, suffocates them. They die. The birds fly in, start eating all this. Then the mosquito is the same way. It breathes by its beak. So when it comes into that area, it inhales the garlic and it dies. Years ago, when we were starting, my wife and I got in the car and there's a mosquito in there. So she got in there first, and she doesn't like mosquitoes like the rest. I got into the car and the mosquito died within about 30 seconds because there was a smell of garlic and it was quite humorous, right?
yeah,
And but that's how it is. It works.
okay,
Um, my wife has been with me through this venture from the get-go, and I put her against the wall many times, right? I'm surprised I'm still, married. But together, she comes up with these, I'm going to say stupid ideas, but in reality, they're quite smart because all I do is change them a bit. So somewhere down the line, I think we're going to get it that we're going to win. But with
yeah.
people helping, we will win. Like what you're doing now with this podcast, that's wonderful. You can't
Thank you.
imagine how many people this would help.
That's
And
what I
again,
hope for, right?
oh,
Just like
it,
you, like let's
yep,
hopefully make a better place for us because we know that these little creatures are there. We know that they're part of the landscape, pun intended. We know that it's just something that we have to be smarter about. And as you were mentioning, ticks are getting smarter, like they're constantly evolving in their
beyond.
ability to survive. You don't think so?
Oh, I know they are.
Oh,
So if
I
you,
thought you said they're not. And I was like,
oh
wait a
no, they
second.
are. If you go way back when the dinosaur was around, have you read that article yet? There's an
Uh,
article about the tick bringing down the dinosaur.
huh, huh.
And I read it all, and they have all this video, all this credentials of these doctors. A tick was the longest thing on earth. It beats the cockroach. And you think a little thing like that brought down the dinosaur.
That's wild.
It is wild. So yeah, ticks are very bright. They used to hide underneath the leaf when it was hot out to keep cool. Now they lay on top of it when there's no sun. Now what they're doing, they used to lay 8,000 eggs in an hour with a mate. They don't need the mate anymore. You women got rid of us men, right? Now they can lay the eggs and they can go all day. Now they're flying. So next, they might start carrying shotguns. But
For real. And next thing I really am gonna come out of my house in my bubble suit. And that's gonna be the end of it. My neighbor, I just had a new neighbor move in. I was like, listen, if you happen to ever see me out there in my rain boots and lots of clothing and hat, what like just I'm harmless, I promise. I'm just not really into this this issue. And because he was pointing out his hostas that were chewed down to the stump. And he's like, those are deer. And I was like, yes. Oh, yes. I
yeah,
know that they're here. And I'm glad that he's aware of it and he's understanding. But I've not talked to him since. I'm like, I hope I didn't talk to him too much, but um I wanted him to understand really like that it's something to really take seriously. Like it's not just 30 days of antibiotics and poof, you're better.
Oh,
It's life altering. Unfortunately, like my friend just died in May. Like I had two people die in May that I know, and I'm sure it's from the tick-borne illness. Like you'll never convince me otherwise. And it's just horrible. Like it's a horrible thing. And people don't quite understand, I think, the severity of really what it can turn into if it's not treated adequately in a short enough time span.
you have to
So
figure in this world, we did not do anything to solve that problem. We just kept going on and on and on. All of a sudden, here they all are now. And, and they're populating drastically. We have parks around here. Our municipality's kind of strange on a good day, right? We have parks around here. They don't want to spend the money to protect the people. They rather just pay them off and, move on with life. But it's the people with the money out there, the people who have the names. Like you use somebody like the Kardashians or Beaver or anybody, Shania Twain.
yeah.
She was bitten. Those people are the ones that should say, okay, people, let's start, but they got probably enough on their plate and I can understand their point. But the ticks, we need to get the word out there more. That's why my wife and I are franchising, because we have to do something. And hopefully our little chunk of it all will do it. But
Yeah. And so if someone's interested in that, like what would that look like for them? Just if anybody's listening and they,
basically, you open up a company in your own little state, your town, you go and spray garlic on people's property, and you make a lot of people healthy and happy.
yeah.
And you don't have to worry about going outside because the garlic is an all natural. You can literally drink it.
Okay.
Um, it does not harm. It smells like I said, an Italian barbecue, and it works. We bought a property here about 4 years ago from where we were. And when I came in to see this guy, I didn't want to get out of the truck. Ticks everywhere.
Oh God.
So I asked him, I said, okay, I'll come and visit you again. We sprayed his property where I'm at now for nothing, just so I can come out of the truck. And I've never had a tick on me ever. And so knock on wood. And now we have no ticks here, no mosquitoes. And we have the same rain as everybody else.
And so you're making me think about another thing, like why does one person's property, why is it like totally infested and
One
other
not.
places like yeah.
Because they're probably spraying something, or there's something the tick. So a tick needs a host. So
Hmm.
if a host is there constantly, why are they going to go anywhere else?
Hmm.
So if they have a dog, if they have a cat, anything, deer, maybe a lot of deer like their property than yours. The ticks are going to hang around there more because remember, a tick can't go from your neighbors to your place in 30 seconds,
Okay.
but a deer can. So if a deer is going to cross their property to yours, we'll just catch a ride on them, drop off on your property. Now you're infested. But if you
Yeah.
spray garlic, when they hit that ground or when they come into your area, they die. So you have to remember a tick will
Okay.
smell 20,000 times greater than anything else. So in the air, you and I may not smell it, but the tick will, and it will die. And that's
Okay.
been proven over and over.
And so then I'm also thinking about because there's a lot of mosquitoes here and I do get my property sprayed and treated.
With what?
Uh again, so I use like an organic tick and mosquito spray. And so my dad was telling me, however, that I could spray all the spray that I want in the world, and it really won't matter for the mosquitoes if, say, another neighbor has water out on their property or something like this, because he said when he was in Vietnam, like part of his duty was to go around and find places that maybe had pools of water to try to lessen their burden of mosquitoes. But so I'm just wondering, like, is that like, is there
Not
truth in
true.
that?
So there is truth in it. Now, again, let's get off the organic. Organic is a man-made product. You can buy chips, which are organic, or you can take a potato, cut the potato, dry it out, and make your own chip. That's
Yeah.
natural. What we do is we have a natural product. It's garlic. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres get pulled, it gets squashed down, it gets manufactured into a liquid. Organic, you have two products, permethrin and pyrethrin.
Okay.
Pyrethrin is the organic of permethrin. Either one you can't drink.
Yeah.
But if it's organic, you should be able to drink it or eat it, right?
I see. Yeah.
You can't drink or eat permethrin.
Yeah.
So the company you have, ask them, say, okay, you're spraying organic. What is it?
Yeah.
Have them give you the chemical name,
Yeah.
and I will bet you a coffee it's permethrin. And if it is, stop it right away because that is cancerous. In
Okay.
Canada, they stopped a lot of places from doing that. In the States, there's 147 states that do not allow chemical anymore. In Canada, the First Nations, Indian reserves, etc., you can't spray chemical anymore because it's killing more than just that. It's killing us.
Yeah,
When
for
you have
sure.
cereals with, chemical in it, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So again, organic, I'm not a firm believer of organic. My thing when I talk to somebody, I will say, oh, can you drink it? And if they look at me like I have three heads, then I know that it's not for me.
Yeah.
And I have customers say, oh, well, how safe is it? And like I said, to know me, you'll figure that one out, but I'll drink it right in front of you. So far, I'm still on this side of the world. So, but
No second head growing that I see.
not
That's good.
yet, not yet. So with that being said, you got to watch, what you do and how you do it. And there's so many people. We have a company, a lot of companies here, and they promise people garlic spraying. I have a worker who used to work for this company, came to me, and what they do is they put a backpack on, they add water, they add their permethrin in or pyrethrin, then they put a cup of garlic in it just to give it the smell. And they're selling it as garlic spray.
I see.
We have these 3/4 ton trucks plus, and they have gigantic tanks on the back of them. They're full of water and garlic. That's it.
Okay.
That's a bit different than a backpack. And
Yeah.
with the company that, let's say what you use, they come in, they do your perimeter, right? Or do they do your balcony, your patio, everything?
Yeah, they do pretty much everything except obviously I told you ahead, but I don't let them spray my food.
And now, can you smell it?
Yes.
And what does it smell like?
Mm,
Exactly.
I think if I had to put that into words, I say pine. It's a little piney.
So they're using a pine oil, which in Canada is against the law.
Why?
Well, pine oil on skin covers pores. So eventually all your pores will be covered. So that has been banned in Canada.
Interesting.
White pine, stuff like that. Some people still use it, but people are people.
Yeah.
So again, you want to make sure, you're healthy and everything else.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And that's something else that people ask me all the time is like, should I spray chemical on me? Should I use natural? And it's like, oh God, because I know that the downside is coming in contact with ticks and Lyme and tick-borne illness. And it's like, well, that's a really horrible outcome. And so I don't know, do you really want to spray the chemical? I don't really want to spray the chemicals. I just want people to be safe. I just want people to not have to worry and be able to go outside and garden and pick tomatoes and not be freaked out that they've got ticks crawling all over them, like
You said earlier you wear your rubber boots outside. I go barefoot on my own grass.
I've tried.
It's hard. It's a mindset, but we have proven to our. So when we started this company, it took me 2 years to figure out what I want to do. I had to make sure that it worked. My wife and I would look at each other, go, okay, we have never had a complaint. What's going on? Is it all of a sudden going to come to an end? That end has not been here yet. And all we get are compliments. How great. I have been called God, which I'm far from, right? And I'm thinking, thank you, but I'm not. It's just what we do. I can't push the company enough. And everybody I talk to, I promote it because I don't want somebody sick. I saw
Yeah.
what you went through and I heard some of your testimonies. That is scary,
Yeah.
right? I'm getting
Yeah.
too old to be older.
Understood. I look back and I'm like, I don't even know how I had the energy to do that then. Like, thank God it happened then and not now. Like, it's just, it does take a lot and it takes a huge toll. And that's the one lady I saw die in May was an older lady and she was in a facility and her daughter was sure she had it. And the facility was like, no, she'd been
Yep.
treated for it. But they finally did blood work. I mean, I don't even know how the lady was functioning. She was positive for every strain. Like it broke my
Wow.
heart. And she lost the will to live. She lost the will to live. She stopped eating and she died. And I can only imagine she must have felt horrid. That just shouldn't be, you know?
When we spray, we observe every little thing I observe. So I have people, they want to put their product out on the market. They ask me to test. The odd time I do that, I tested one lemongrass. You couldn't breathe. It was literally choking you. So we've experimented with a lot of natural stuff. One lady swears by this. It's baby shampoo. When you take your shower, use that yellow baby shampoo, and supposedly the ticks will drop right off. And I haven't tried it because I don't have ticks on me.
Yeah.
But if you want to experiment, try it. But that's what they use. Um, oh, there's just so many. Like we want to manufacture garlic candles. So when you're sitting out in the backyard,
Yeah.
but again, it's time, money, and effort and everything else. But there's so many things that garlic is used for. Cancer clinics, health, dogs. You give your dog a garlic pill.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I mean. It's one of those things. The black-legged tick is not going anywhere. You guys got some really nasty ones down your way, but
Thank
you
you
know
for
that's
that.
out in the mountains.
Like, yes,
Yeah,
thanks, Ed. I really appreciate that. Weren't we working on getting me going back outside, not making me more freaked out about being
no,
outside? I
go
think
outside, try it. You know
I
where?
do. I trust me.
Yeah,
Like when I first moved into my property here, I was like, all right, Ann, stop being such a wuss. Just go outside, do some yard work. Like you're gonna live. It'll be just fine. You know what happened? Within
uh,
20 minutes of being outside, even with spray all over my entire being, I had a tick on me. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I just left the yard waste. But like since then now I've started treating the property and I I have not, knock on wood, I've not seen one since. I had one on me a few years ago, but I've been hiking the day before, so I can't be too sure. I can't be too sure if it was from my yard or from that, but also that night I think I had a herd of deer sleeping in my backyard, so
that
that's a
will do it.
possibility, you know. So,
This product also deter deer because the deer don't like the taste of it.
huh,
Geese hate the taste of it. It's very bitter.
okay.
So if you look up our company, geese and garlic and Ecotic, you'll see we sprayed for geese to get rid of them off Centennial Boulevard.
Huh.
You know, when we're finished, I want you to send me your address. I'm
Yeah.
going to send you some garlic.
All right.
I'll send it to you how to apply it. It's
Thanks.
very easy to do. And I will guarantee no ticks in your backyard if you follow these steps.
Thanks. I'd
Use
appreciate
the
that.
high active. Um, the Lululemon outfits are,
Yeah, so that's what I was
product.
gonna say. Another thing that you had mentioned to me, and I am aware of it, but just for whatever reason, like again, I have not really spent a lot of time outside. Um, so, but rhino skin is a good option, and
It
I have
is.
been getting back outside again this summer has really been a step forward for me in that regard that I'm like, okay, it's okay. I'd rather live my life than be afraid. I'd rather live my life than be afraid. Like keep telling myself that over and over again, but it's a lot for people that have gone through this. I know I'm not the only one who has a little PTSD about it, and rightly so. Rightly so. I've got good reason to feel
Well, you
like I
do.
do. That's another thing my friends remind me about. They're like, you've been through a lot. Like it's okay. We understand. Give yourself some space and grace is what I like to say. Space and grace, child. It's all good. But it's thankfully there are ways that we have different tools that we have to be able to be outside, to be able to
Mhm.
enjoy the abundance that God's given to us. It's a very beautiful place and there's so much beauty out there. And I don't
There
want to
is.
spend it just looking out the window. And that's another thing is like sometimes if I see a big field of grass, I'm like, ah, I wonder how many ticks are there. Like that's my first thought. Or like if I'm in the park walking, um, there's a lot of deer around here again, and it's like, oh my God, I don't want to be anywhere near this. Meanwhile, people are like taking pictures, doing
Yeah,
whatever, and I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like you got to get away from those things, but they're everywhere.
that's ignorance.
So
People just, turn their head and not knowing there's ticks there. By using the Pi Active, right? You can buy it in a cream, which is also a moisturizer. You can buy it in a spray bottles, kids, all that stuff. Spray it on your legs. Go for
yeah,
your walk and
yeah.
see what happens. Right away, you're going to see if you have any ticks. You can do a tick drag. Use a
Yeah.
cotton sheet and
Oh
see
my
if
God.
you any out.
That would be like the things of my night. That is like something that it comes to me in a nightmare is the tick drag. Like I wonder about these people who seek to study. God bless them. We need them.
Yeah, we
But the
do.
people that are actually like hunting to look for them, like
Yeah,
there's got to be something wrong. You got to have something wrong with you if you're going actively looking for these creatures,
that's,
in my
that's,
opinion. Like, you think that something's wrong with me because I don't want to go outside? Well, let's talk about these people who are actively looking for them because
yeah.
I think we need to have a long talk. But again, I am very grateful for people like that who can tolerate it. I'm so freaked out, or like somebody will send me a picture of some guy's leg that has must be like a nest of ticks crawling up it, and I'm just like,
Yeah, that's a bit gross. You know,
like, what would I do?
remember your mindset. It's all about how your mind handle things. You have to look at yourself. You have to look where you came from, how well you became, how strong you become.
Yeah.
Like I said, 7 years ago, you were black and white,
Yeah.
and now you're full color,
Yeah. Thank
right?
God.
So you smarten yourself up. You are more aware of what's out there by using the Pi Active, by different products like that. You will overcome it. I know you'll walk on your property again, right?
Yes. Yes.
And if not, we have to come down and spray for you.
Thanks. Well,
You're
I
welcome.
do get better and better, I promise. Every day, every year, every whatever, it's just another step forward and just trying to remind myself that I'm safe and it's okay. And even if I were to get it again, like I wouldn't probably go 7 years this time. Like I would know right away what it is and I would know a lot sooner how to help myself and it would be a much different thing. Although I pray to God I never want to experience it again, ever, ever, ever. And I've also been told that you can eat garlic and you also then will give off the
The
smell that they
odor,
don't
but it's
like.
not the odor as a pungent. There is no odor that's given off by the garlic when
Yep.
you eat it.
Yep.
You have to also remember, if you look from way back when, you never had a podcast. You weren't aware. You never became a yoga instructor, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So you've learned a lot, which is
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
But everybody out there have to. There has to be more awareness. And to
Correct.
be afraid of a tick, they're winning. Don't let them win.
Thank
We're
you.
out there every day and we're in the thickest stuff you could possibly think. I never had a tick on me.
Yeah.
And again, knock on wood, my tech had one tick on him and he was in his car, right? And we don't know where it came from, but it was just walking on his leg. Just don't make it make you stay inside
Yeah.
because you
I
will.
appreciate that. Yes. Fear should never win. It should always be light and love trumping over that. And as before we started to, I just said like I never want to get to the end and say like I lived in too much fear and I should have not done that and I should have been out there more often and enjoying my life and doing again the things that we're meant to be doing, which is enjoying the gifts that God has given to us versus just looking at them out through the window wondering how many ticks are crawling on them.
And that's the thing is, so wife and I, we decided to franchise because, okay, we're in our own little city, Kingston. A lot of people around us are happy. But then you have Belleville. We're going to Belleville, but there's a limit how far you can go. But
Yeah.
we've been shipping this stuff even to Nanooktook. right? Way
Yeah.
up in Northwest Territories. If there was one company in every little state or city, they wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah.
But it's a long haul getting there.
Yeah, for sure. And trust me, I'm like, okay, can I strap a pack on? How can I fit that into my life? Because
If all to apply this, you're going to put the garlic in with the water and even a little pump bottle, like one of those pumpers,
Yep.
that will work.
Yep.
Backpack, or unless you have somebody cutting your grass,
Yep. I do.
do they have a backpack? Or the
Mm,
guy who sprays, tell him, I want you to try this stuff instead of your stuff.
yeah.
Hey,
Again, he's my neighbor, so I will ask him if he's
ask
open
him,
to it.
say,
And
I want you to try it,
yeah.
right? But make sure his tank is cleaned out.
Yeah.
And I'll ship you some down. I'll ship you a gallon down. And that should do, I don't know how big your backyard is, but let me know how you make out after that.
Yeah, I
But
will. Thanks.
don't be scared of it. It's only
No,
a guy.
well, I'm just gonna have to carry the spray with me everywhere I go to. That's the thing. It's like I just needed to make a force field around me. So when I'm walking, they're just like repelled by me and they want nothing to do with me. So um that's why I think about again eating it. Because I do think the chemicals like in our blood then and I have read studies, I think that it does deter them from biting you because you do not smell like a good meal to them.
Well, yeah, garlic has been used in all kinds of applications. So they're presently using it in cancer research.
Mm,
And they're finding that it's breaking down the cancer cell. I don't know any details of it. I'm just reading what I'm reading.
yeah.
Um, they did a study in Yakamosho or something like that in Japan about garlic. They gave dogs 25 pounds of garlic. The worst thing that happened, it went to the washroom like a racehorse, right? But the people, they went outside and it was nothing. If you watch the show, Corner Gas. It's a Canadian show. One of the guys was using that baby shampoo, the lemon shampoo,
Hmm.
and everybody hung around him because it got rid of the mosquitoes. So if you look back at nature or history, nature will always win. It's always something that is natural that will kill.
Yep.
When I
Yep.
was going through my degrees, I worked for a company, a large company, and we invented a missile. And in the missile, we kept having problems with frequency, taking it off its course. I was watching Superman one day and oh, he can't see through lead. So my invention was let's put red or lead around a gyro. It worked. So
Huh.
everything has its natural powers.
Yeah.
And just like garlic and ticks and mosquitoes and everything else.
Well, you know what you should be making?
What's that?
Garlic missiles.
To blow them up. Eh, well, my next little venture, if everything goes well, is lasers for the mosquitoes.
Huh.
So, laser with a mosquito, green is the effective ingredient.
Oh,
And when the mosquito comes in your area, the laser can track it and cut its wings. But that's who knows what's going to come out of that.
fascinating.
All natural stuff is the way it's going to win.
But for sure, for sure. And we've got to do something to take a stand and this kind of thing. Again, I talk to my neighbor sometimes because we have a lake here that gets closed with bloom or whatever the heck is growing in it. And I'm thoroughly convinced that that's from all the fertilizer runoff. I don't think that's a disputable fact. I think that's definitely something that we can all scientifically agree to that that's happening. And he's like, no, my product doesn't contribute to that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really sure about that because like it all runs off, right? Like the earth just gets washed by the rain and then it runs into the different things. And then that usually winds up in the streams and the lakes and the rivers and the places we like to go put our bodies into. So, I mean, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I saw a video the other day about even just chlorine in the water.
Mhm.
And this lady has this substance that can change the water different colors when there's chlorine present. And she put it in, it was two different glasses from the same tap. She put the drops in and it turned color. And then she took the other glass and she stuck her hand in it and then pulled it out and then put the chlorine drops in and it barely changed the water. And she was saying that's because all the chlorine was already absorbed into her body, into the skin. And so just I think about that chemicals and just our exposure to them and how porous our skin surface is, how readily absorbable some of this stuff is to the body. So we have to be careful.
So pine oil is the same thing with the actual pores of your body. You have pores. You cover your pores. You cover your whole body in gold paint, red paint. Every opening, you're going to suffocate.
Huh.
And that's what's happening. So how close are you to a lake or a river? Does your body butt up to it?
No, 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 no. We're not that close. No.
Okay, but you're still close enough. So everything they spray on your property, when it rains, it has to go downhill, gravity.
Yeah.
So yes, it's going to run into that lake, into that river, into your well.
Yeah.
The laws in Canada says you can't spray any organic or chemical 30 meters from water. You can't
Okay.
spray 30 meters around a well. These guys ignore that and they just spray. So, it's all going to go downhill like plumbing.
Literally. Um, in so many ways, that statement. Yes. So again, that's why it's important to like uphold and do what we can and make sustainable decisions and make choices that are going to be more beneficial to all parties involved. And I think about this with like something like say antibiotics too, right? Like we put antibiotics in the body and it kills absolutely everything, decimates everything, good and bad. And that's the same with chemicals. We put it into the environment. It's doing the same thing. It's killing good and bad. It doesn't
Yep.
really discriminate versus something that is truly natural and organic. It it does not have that impact. The same with herbs in the body, right? Like the herbs have multifaceted ability and are beneficial and do not kill the good stuff. They just target the bad. And that's what this sounds like to me is it's targeting the devil's workers and leaving the rest to be safe and whole. And I watch my little birds in my backyard because I don't spray anything really back there except for the organic tick spray. And I just watch them and I have so many that roll around in the dirt and I'm like, I wonder if they realize back there that it's like not chemicals. And that's why they're grounding themselves there because they know it's a little bit safer than someone else's property
100%.
who's like totally sprayed up. I've thought about that many times, but I love animals and I really want them to also be safe and to be able to proliferate well. And we think about butterflies and bees, and I've got all kinds of plants planted here that are bee friendly, and I just want them to be safe. And we have to respect them.
The monarch butterflies, they're trying to make a comeback. It's hard.
Yeah.
We have 4 of them on our property, only after we sprayed garlic. Like I said, we have over 900 customers. When we go onto their property, we're talking some of them way in the bush, thousands and thousands of dragonflies. When we're spraying, they come into the mist. We have monarch butterflies starting to come back onto the properties. So what we're doing with the garlic is actually enhancing their property again. It's
Yeah.
bringing back nature. And then you have these guys like in Ottawa. Ottawa bought these gigantic clone or drones. They're going to be spraying pesticide over people's houses to get rid of the mosquitoes. What a stupid idea,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
it's the way it is.
Yeah. They're getting into that here too, and they run the trucks at night, so you don't really know about it, but
Yeah.
that's really not exciting because I do know about it. So
And New York did that, and they're still doing it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
our little thing is we're going back to nature.
Yeah.
The garlic does work 100%.
Yeah.
We have guarantees that we put on all our properties. We spray, like I said, every 4 weeks. And I don't hesitate going out on my own property and rolling in it if I have to. I walked barefoot yesterday. It works. I don't know what else to say to it.
Yeah.
And I thank you for doing this because if you can get that word out there, that'd be all the better for everybody. And
For
we
sure.
registered our company, we registered as a health part of it. So when the COVID hit, we were still able to
Oh,
spray.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
very smart.
And we can
Good.
spray up to and into water where the chemicals can't.
Oh, that's good too, because I know that would be probably a pretty prime hot spot for ticks to be along the water's edge, just because there's
Yep,
a lot of
exactly.
food for them, but water, they're safer there. Yeah. So all right. Well, I really appreciate your time. This has been super
Me
informative,
too.
and I'm grateful for what you represent, what you stand for, and what you do provide for people. I'm going to go ahead and list your contact information. I'm just taking this from the website if that's okay. But
That's great.
again, Ed's coming out of the Kingston, Ontario area. And if you're interested in talking with him, you can call him at 613-539-1472. Or you can also email him at ecotick So that's ECOTICKSOLUTIONS And I'm sure he'll get back to you as soon as he possibly can with different information. He's got a great website you can visit. It's eco-ticksolutions.ca because again, he's coming out of Canada, and you can check out the different services that he has. There's a little bit of about information for you there, some different packages. And as you heard earlier in the podcast, he is looking for people to help him franchise his company and get this out to others because again, it's incredibly important to keep yourself and your family and your animals safe, especially if you're a farmer, you've got your livestock crops that you want to basically make sure that you're protecting them as well. They are very much susceptible to being hit by illness from ticks and mosquitoes. And just this again is just really important. No chemicals and a way to keep your property safer. So thank you for listening, Ed. Thank you for being here with us. I really do appreciate the information that you shared with us. Then you are a wealth of knowledge, and I just appreciate the fight that you're fighting. And I'm happy to be here to share your story a little bit more and hopefully get some more people buying your product.
Thank you. And we're here for you. So anything you need, let me know.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.